start now. Oh, and by the way, Bear puts himself last, which was nonsense. Free My Phone, I work at freepress.net, a media reform organization, and Free My Phone is a campaign that we're running. I want to tell you a little bit about it, so I'm going to wait for the next slide to pop up. Okay, so Steve Jobs, you guys know him. He announced the iPhone in 2007, and he called it the internet in your pocket. The idea was that we have constant access to the internet at all times, nothing hindering that experience anymore. No matter what phone you have, the idea was that eventually we're going to get there. But we're not really there, and one of the reasons why we're not there is because the wireless carriers suck. And they hobble the abilities of the phones that we have and make them harder to use in the way that we want to use them. Complaints about particularly AT&T are that the coverage is crappy. I think most of us can attest to that. The customer service is bad. They have tyrannical business practices. They contribute to very conservative interests, and people like me, we don't like that. But if you want an iPhone, you need AT&T, which, unless you unlock it and go through all these hoops, and then you have an iBrick and whatever. If you want to play kosher, you need AT&T. I'm going to wait for the next slide. One way to get around this that we're talking about, we talk a lot about policy, is an idea called handset exclusivity. Senator John Kerry is leading the charge. He points out that 4 companies account for more than 85% of all subscribers. That's a problem. And a lot of people will say, well, this is a tech issue. There's 2 different standards. That's not actually the issue. If the market was open, there would be incentive to produce phones for both networks. For example, an iPhone that would work for Verizon and for AT&T. This dude, Harold Feld, works for Public Knowledge, who's an ally in this fight. And he says we should let wireless carriers do, we do let wireless carriers do what we never let wireline carriers do, to control the device that connects to the network. It's like controlling the TV that you use or controlling the computer that you use. So for us, carrier control, that kind of control means higher prices. It means fewer options. It means worse performance, less competition, and possibly the worst, rural carriers lose out. And if you live like in a place like this, you can't get what you want. And so consumers have no control over content. We have no control over which network we use. No control over the price that we pay, and little control over the applications that we use. Now, some of you might think, oh, but wait a minute, I download applications all the time. I'll get to that. Brookings Institution, which is a think tank in DC, says that in fact it confirms this idea that American consumers actually have a strong desire to control the applications over their wireless devices. It's not just iPhones, it's anybody who uses a mobile phone. But wait, it's not all bad. Like, the iPhone actually is kind of the internet in your pocket, right? Like, most of us probably have them for that reason. And it's true. We can download all kinds of applications. We can use them in innovative ways. We can go, for example, this screenshot's from like 2 years ago, by the way. We can do a lot of innovative things. And in a lot of ways, it is actually a computer in your pocket. It's network technology in your pocket. But who has Google Voice on their iPhone? No, you don't, because you can't. Google Voice was rejected from the Apple App Store because it competes with existing technology on the iPhone. And this has been, there is actual evidence of this because the FCC got involved and asked Google and AT&T and Apple to write them a letter telling them what the hell happened there, because they see it as a possible breach, a trust problem, and a possible other kinds of communications problems. So, and it's not only Google Voice. If you have Skype, who has Skype on their iPhone? Who's tried to make phone calls over Skype over the 3G connection? You can't, because it's hobbled, because AT&T purposely does so. This is total control over content from the wireless carriers. They decide what can go on their pipes and what can't. And what we think is that there should be this concept of the dumb pipe, where AT&T provides the connection, but they don't push what can be done over that connection. Congress is investigating this idea, and they're also investigating handset exclusivity. They're looking at possible trust violations, because the issue with handset exclusivity, there's probably going to be a bill, and it's not just Congress. FCC yesterday announced that there are going to be net neutrality rules established probably within the next 6 months. And kind of an amazing thing, especially for what Katrine does, is that they are going to apply to wireless mobile as well as mobile wireless as well as wireline internet. So all that net neutrality stuff is going to apply to the stuff that you're getting in your pocket, and you will have true internet in your pocket.